Hey YouTube, it's Jay. So, I've been doing these pattern drills and I realized it has been a month since I did straight pool Sunday. And that means it's been a month since I played straight pool. So I'm taking a break from the pattern play to get in a straight pool Sunday because I love this game. So sit back, enjoy. I'll provide some commentary on some of the shots and we'll see how we do. I'm kind of a little upset with myself that I lost my momentum. I had started to continually climb with what I was doing. My shot making is more consistent now than it was a month ago. We'll just have to see how it goes. All right, so getting ready for the very first break. And I'm going to use this under the rack break shot a lot. This break came out really, really nice. You can see I've got a nice spread on everything. I've got no two balls touching anywhere. This should be a pretty good one. I've got the 15 as my initial thought for a breakout. Problem ball, I've got the 10 that needs to move. I've got the 6 and the 8 together. I've got the 7 that needs to move, and then everything else has a pocket. So kind of a funky place to start. So I decide to roll up the table and take care of the top of the table first. So far so good. Finish out the top of the table here and bring the cube back up. And I do, and so this is a little weird. I can shoot the 3 or I can shoot the 14 in the side. I decide on the 14 and I'm going to roll up the table a little bit, trying to get to that 10. We'll get the 10 out of the way. That's one problem ball gone. And I try to come around to get on the 7 because the 7 is my other problem ball. And I do. Alright, so now I've broken those out a little bit. Now the 6 ball, I need to get that out of the way so that I have a way to make the 8. And I left that pretty much dead straight in, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the way now, and then I've got no problem balls left. Okay, so at this point, I actually do have a problem ball. The 11 moved in front of the 5 on me. No way to control that. Now I've just got to figure out how to deal with it. The good news is I've got a couple of good key balls. The 3 and the 8 are key balls. But the bad news is that somehow I have ended up with like no shot. So I'm going to have, the only shot I've got on this entire table, thanks to where I landed, it's like the one place this would happen. The only shot I've got is the 9, so I've got to cut that thin. And that means the cue ball is going to get away from me because I'm cutting it so thin. And I make the shot and I get all the way down the table and I can see the 11. I've got a window to get between the 13 and the 5 and make the 11. If I make this, I'm going to be gold. But it's the first rack of the day. Alright, so on to the next rack. Here we go. Another good break shot. I make the ball, I break a few things out, and I move around. So this one I'm going to have to break again. I'm going to have to re-break this rack. So the best ball to do that with is that 9 ball. So my very first goal here is to get on that 9 in a way that's going to let me drive the cue ball into the rack and spread them out. And I want to get the 12 out of the way to make room to do that. And oh, by the way, this gives me the perfect leave on that 9 to re-break the rack. So I'm just going to do it now. I'm not going to even mess with those other 4 balls. I'm just going to go ahead and re-break the rack while I've got stuff out there to help me if I get in trouble. Alright, so nice spread on the rack. You see me pointing at the 10. That's because the 10 has now made itself a problem ball. I also have this little cluster sitting on the rack. The 4 goes clean, the 8 goes clean, and then the 15 too. So they have to go in kind of that order. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is deal with this 10. I can worry about the rack after I deal with all the loose balls. So I run into the 10, to break it loose away from the 1. And I still have to deal with that 1. That 1's not a gimme either. It's it looks pretty good in the video, but it's a pretty thin cut with speed. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and get the 4 out of the way and maybe try to get on the 8, get it out of the way. And then I realized the 15-2 is dead, so I shoot it. Now, I have a cut on this 8 to make it in the corner. But I figure I'll take care of the 4 first, get it out of the way so it's just not even a problem. And now I'm going to use the, I believe I used the 14 to lay up for the 8. Nope, I use it to lay up for the 6, which will clear out the bottom of the rack for me. I'll have nothing at the bottom of the rack. So far this rack's going pretty well. I don't have a break shot though. So I really kind of want to get an angle to make the 8 and then leave the 15 as a break shot. But I'm going to avoid that 7 until I do, because that 7 is the closest thing I've got to a break shot at the moment. And I have no key ball either for that, by the way. So there's the 3. I'm going to go ahead and take my 10 and my 1 while I'm right here. Right now I've got a good angle on the 1, so I'm going to be able to get the cue a little bit off the rail to get on this 8. Alright, I'm off the rail. I've got a shot on the 8. Make this in and run into the 15. That's my idea. Okay, I didn't run into it hard enough. So this is kind of an interesting situation. You're going to see me struggle with figuring this out for a minute here. The 15 goes in the side, but the cue ball runs into the 7. And it runs into the 7 on the bottom half of the 7, which means that what I would have to do is I'd have to hit this really hard, bump the 7 off the rail and back over, and meanwhile bring the cue ball around 3 rails to get the leave on the 7. That's a pretty tricky shot. I'm going to opt not to do that. The other shot is take the 15 all the way up in the top corner, and you're going to see me measuring this. If I take the 15 in the top corner, then the cue ball comes off and it hits the top half of the 7, which will come off the rail and under the rack like you just saw me point. So that should actually be a break shot. And so the downside to it is the 15 is a pretty difficult cut. And I missed the 15, but as expected, the 7 rolls down to the bottom under the rack. Alright, new rack. Decent break shot, but I'm kind of hung up under the rack, which is not where you want to be, so I have to cut the 13 in to get out from under the rack. I've got a couple of balls up top of the table. We're going to go ahead and get those out of the way pretty quick here. We just want to get those out of the way so we don't have to deal with them when we come back up and work on the top half of the table. The 12 makes a decent transition ball. I hit that a little bit hard. Now I've got problem balls here all over the place. I've got the 8 ball is a problem ball. The 14 is going to be tough to get on unless I've eliminated the 3. Now I've got this little cluster in the middle of the rack. The 4 does go in the corner, so I can use that. But I really want to deal with this 8 first. I want to clear out that bottom part before I go breaking this rack out and throwing more balls into that mix. So I'm going to use the 12 to get a leave on the 8. Okay, and I'm really not worried about distance on this one. I'm more worried about the line, because I need to be able to get out from under there after I shoot it. There we go. I've bumped the 4 a little bit, but that's okay. Now I've got a good angle on this 9 to cut the 9 and run into the rack and spread it out pretty nice. Or not. I thought I did, and I didn't. So now I'm going to draw off the 6 and bump the 11-5, break those a little loose. and come over to the side to go get these two balls over here, the 14 and the 3. It doesn't really look like it on the video, but I do have a shot on that 14, so I go ahead and take it. I'm going to go ahead and take this 3, and I'm going to roll forward and try to hit the little cluster of the 147 that's sitting there. And I miss it. And now I've got a little bit of trouble. But I do have a shot on that 4, I think. I think I shoot the 4. Yeah, I do. Which is going to bump the 7 out into a break position, hopefully. Hit it too hard, 7 rolls back into the rack. And worse than that, I really don't have a good shot from here. 7's blocking me on the 5. I get the 1 I can cut all the way over to the left, or the 11 I can cut up the table. Those are my 2 shots here. The 11's blocking the 7 in the side. That 5 is blocking the 7 up in the corner. So the 7 and the 5 are completely untouchable right here. I have to either cut the 11 or cut the 1. So I choose the 11, I believe. I think I choose the 11. I should choose the 11. It's a better shot. And I think I cut it in the side. Yeah. Alright, so back in play, but I have no break shot. So my break is going to be the cut the 1 in the side and run the Q into the side of the rack. That's going to be my break shot here. It's the only thing I've got. Make the 7. Now what I want to do is I want to make the 5 all the way up the table and roll past the center of the 1 so that I get the cut into the side. There we go. And I make it. Alright, now we're ready to do this, but now what I'm going to have to do, I've got too thin on it, so I have to cut it thin in the side. I've got to come off 2 rails and into the bottom of the rack. Now this is not my favorite break. There's a lot of chance that you're going to get stuck in the bottom of the rack. You have to hit this pretty hard. And I missed the shot and scratch. So, onward and upward. Alright, next rack. I get stuck in the bottom of the rack. This is a horrible place to start a rack. I got a decent break shot, but I just hit that 12 full, and now I've got no shot at all. Which means that I have to make something up, and I decide on the 5 cross side. Alright, and I use that to get out into the middle of the table where I've got some room to work. I do have a cut on this 9 to break out the rack, and I think that's what I'm going to do here. That would be the right play here. Would be use the 9 to break the rack up a little bit more. Hit it with a little top, a little bit hard so that the cue ball comes through and out. And the cue ball everything works well except the cue ball doesn't go through and out. So I'm left with another case of no shot. Only thing I've got is the bank on the 3. Now I hate banking in straight pool. I really do. I don't like doing it. It's too iffy, and control of the cue can be an issue. But sometimes you have no choice. So that worked out well. And now I've got the 13 and the 12 that need to move. Both of those need to be moved. I tried to get a little bit of a bump to get a break shot, but I was thinking the 11 would roll down past the bottom of the rack and give me a break under the bottom, which would have been perfect with the 7 where it is. And here we go with the 12. Come around for the balls that are up at the top of the table. I really don't have any problem balls right now. This is just run them out. I have the 2 balls up here at the top of the table to deal with. I'm going to take one of them right now, and I'm going to try to get up to deal with the 8 and the 15, because the other one that's down there is going to give me a chance to get out from under the bottom if I need. Well, I bumped the 8 in front of the side pocket, so now I can use the 8 as a transition ball to get back up the table. So at this point, I might as well go ahead and shoot the other one at the bottom and work up on the top, 7 balls at the top of the table. Not real sure why. The angle was a little steep, so I went ahead and used the 10. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to roll up basically even with the 11 ball, so I can shoot the 11 in the corner and bump the 4 into a break position. I rolled too far, and now I've got to make something happen. And that's me hitting my head on the camera. That's why that's shaking me. Talk about losing focus. Alright, so we're going to take the other ball at the top of the table because it's about the easiest, highest percentage shot that I have there. Try to get back on that 11, and I don't. I kind of do, I kind of don't. But it's steeper than I'd like, so I'm going to go ahead and shoot this 8 ball in. Use that to get my next position. Cue ball hits the 15, and I get a lucky double kiss there. That puts the 15 perfect for me to try to roll up for this 11-4. Now what I'm looking at here is I really need to get to where I can manufacture a break shot, because nothing on the table is a break shot right now except the 15, and the 15 was the only shot I had. Okay, so I get my leave on the 11. If I make the 11, I should bump the 4 out into a break position. I'm a happy camper. And there's the 4 going into a break position, and there's me missing the 11. Oh well. Say it like here. Next rack. Alright, another good break, okay? I actually hit this one a little too hard. But I got out to the center, I got out to the table, I've got shots. I've got a good selection of shots here. I do not have a break ball yet, so I'm going to have to manufacture one. So my thought is, hit the 10 soft, roll the 13 down into break position. And my next shot after that was going to be shoot the 6 ball, pull the cue back, or stop the cue right where the 6 is, and then shoot the 11 and drive the cue into the rack. But the 13 got exactly wrong. It rolled too far on the break position, and it blocked my next shot. So now I'm refiguring what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take this 8 out of the way. Try to bump the rack a little bit. I push the 12 ball out of the mess. That's still a little bit of a mess down there, though. I'm going to have to make the 13 and bump the 11, and all kinds of stuff down there. Or I can take the 6 ball and leave the 12 straight in, which is kind of what I'm thinking here. Let's get the 12 out of there, make this a little less messy. The 15 and the 2 both go, so there's no problems there. The 7-3 is the biggest problem. So I overhit this a lot. And I'm going to go up there for that, after that 4, and maybe get rid of that 14 that's, or is it 14 that's sitting up there? Get rid of the 14, use the 5 to transition back up, or maybe just shoot the 14 and try to get a leave straight from there. So there's the 5 as my transition, and now I've got that shot where you shoot it in the side and the cue ball rolls through the rack, so I'm going to take advantage of that to break out the 7-3, I hope. And I do. Okay, so we are less messy now. We still have the 2-11 we're going to have to deal with, but the 12 is a straight shot. And with the cue ball on that side of the 2, you can cut the 2 in and not have to worry about the 11, pretend like it's not even there. Or I could do what I just did, which is set up for the 7 so that I can roll off the 7 and into those 3 balls. And now everything is broken loose. Unfortunately, I do not have a brake shot. The 7 was my brake shot. Now my closest thing to a brake shot is the 12 in the side. 12 goes into the side on the left with an angle in between the first and second diamond on the right, so that you shoot the 12 in the side and the cue ball runs into the rack. I actually kind of like that break, but you have to hit it hard. You have to hit it with a lot of top English, otherwise the cue ball stands a good chance of getting buried with the rack, and you run on the break shot. Okay, so pretty straightforward. The 15 is going to be my, or the either the 11 or the 2 is my key ball. So right now I'm going to take the 2, line myself up for the 15, and use the 11 as my brake shot, or as my key ball. There is only one thing I do not want to do here. I do not want it to be straight. I can be on either side of that 11 and get my break, but I do not want to be straight. So you can see where I've got the cue. That's where I want the cue ball, is on the line there to the 12. I'm going to remeasure that in a second. Alright, so I need to hit this with top left English to get the cue ball over to where I need it. I'm lining it up. I'm like, I better go take another look at this. So you're going to see me draw. I'm measuring the straight in line. I need to cross that line. So I need to be at least 1 1/3 diamond up to get the shot on the 12. I missed the 11. I am absolutely perfect on this break. In fact, I'm going to shoot this break to prove it to myself. You're going to see when I put this 12 in the side, the cue goes straight through where the 3rd ball in the rack would be. That would have been a great break. All right, so this is a really good break. There's really, you just have to pick this apart from the outside edges. There's only one ball up the table. Didn't really like that 5, but hey, it gets me into the center where I've got all kinds of shots. As a general rule, I don't like shooting up the table unless I absolutely have to. So the only thing I've got here that's even close to a problem is that 14-11. I've got a potential break shot in the 12 ball, potential break shot in the 3 ball, although that 3 ball is going to go away here, I think. I'm going to play the 2. I think I run into the 3 here. No? Okay. Still in good shape. I need to get the 3 ball out of there. I need to get the 3 out of the way. I need to get the 13, 10, 7 out of the way. There's a 2 for 1. Didn't even realize that had happened. I got the 15, I got the 8. I've still got the 3 as a potential break shot. I've got position here where I can get the 10 out of the way of anything if I wanted to, but it's a pretty thin cut, so I don't really like that idea. I go down the table to get the ball up there, and I'm going to use the 15 to come back up the table. Alright, that's a little more angle than I wanted. But it does give me an angle where the cue ball can run into the 14-11. There we go. The 14 is now in the ideal break position. We need to get the 3 out of the way. The 3 does go. So if I can get this 3 out of the way, I should be out of this rack and into a really good break for the next rack. And there it is. The 3 slides by the 10 just perfectly. I've got 3 balls to the break. I've got the 11, then the 7, then the 10. And I get good on the 7. Now I'm going to come off the rail. I want to be on either side of the 10. I can get to the break from either side of the line, and I hit it exactly straight in. So this would be perfectly fine if the 14 were on the other side of the rack. I could just use top English, cheek pocket, and come out for the break. But because the 14's where it is, I don't have enough room to reliably cheat 3 pockets. So I'm going to have to bury this with draw and come back and draw 2 above the 14 for the lead. I just, straight in. It was my bane all day. I kept getting straight in on things constantly. And I draw it, and it comes out, and it's, guess what? Straight in. Let's speed through the rack here. Now I am absolutely dead straight in on this 14. I've got maybe a little tiny hair of angle, but I can't get to the rack. There's no way to get to this rack. So rather than force the issue, I play it like I would in a game. If I was playing somebody, just make the 14, take the point, and use it to set up for a safe. There it is. There's the basic safe. You hit the 2-ball, straight on, no English. I could have tried something like banking the 8 up the table, but the truth is you wouldn't do that in a game, so I didn't do it. And that ends it all. Well, there you have it. Straight pool Sunday. Never really turned the corner today. I'm kind of out of time. Otherwise, I would keep going. I was getting some steady progress in there. I made some really good shots. I missed some really stupid shots. And on that last rack, I was literally sick to my stomach when I missed that 7-ball, or when I got straight in on the 7-ball. That could have been a continuation. There, I finally got it set up where I had a fairly straightforward break shot, and then I left it dead straight in. I was hoping I could shoot the pocket. I couldn't. And I had to just try to draw for it, and I didn't draw far enough, and I pretty much left myself straight in on the break shot, and so I was forced to just take the break shot and then play the safe. I hate it, but that's how it is. Anyhow, we will see you next time. If you liked it, hit like, hit subscribe, ding the notification bell, and we'll see you next time.